Have you ever thought about transforming your kitchen scraps into nutrient-rich soil? Imagine taking what you'd normally throw away and turning it into a valuable resource for your garden. This is the magic of composting, a natural process that not only reduces waste, but also enhances the health and productivity of our gardens. Composting is essentially nature's way of recycling. It's a process that takes organic materials, such as food scraps and yard waste, and breaks them down over time into a rich, fertile material known as compost or black gold. This transformation is aided by a host of microscopic organisms that feed on the organic matter, breaking it down into its basic elements. The benefits of composting are numerous. For starters, it's a fantastic way to reduce the amount of waste we send to landfills. Did you know that nearly half of the garbage we throw away is organic matter that could be composted instead? By composting, we can significantly cut down on landfill waste and the greenhouse gases it produces, but the benefits don't stop there. Compost is also a boon for our gardens. It enriches the soil, improves its structure, and helps it retain moisture. It's packed with nutrients that plants need to grow, and it even helps suppress plant diseases and pests. In the following scenes of this video, we'll take a closer look at how to set up your own composting bin, what you can and can't compost, the composting process itself, and how to use your compost in your garden. Whether you're a seasoned gardener or a composting newbie, you're sure to pick up some useful tips and tricks. So let's dive in and see how you can start composting right in your own backyard. It's time to turn your waste into wealth and contribute to a healthier, more sustainable planet. Let's not just talk about being green, let's do it. Let's compost. First things first, you need to set up your compost bin. This is where all the magic happens, where your kitchen scraps and garden waste transform into nutrient-rich compost. But before we dive into it, there are a few things to consider. Your compost bin's location is crucial. You'll want it close enough to your kitchen to make it convenient to toss in scraps, but not so close that it becomes a nuisance. Make sure it's in a spot that's easy to access, yet tucked away from heavy foot traffic. Next, consider the size of your compost bin. This will largely depend on how much compostable waste you generate and the size of your garden. A family of 4 might need a larger bin than a single individual. Remember, composting is a continuous process, so it's better to have a bin that's a bit too big than one that's too small. Now let's talk about the type of bin. There are many designs to choose from, each with its own advantages. Some people prefer a simple pile or a homemade wooden bin, while others opt for store-bought compost tumblers. The choice is yours. Just remember, whatever type of bin you choose, it should have good ventilation to allow for air circulation and should be easy to turn or mix. Once you have your bin, it's time to set it up for optimal decomposition. Start by layering browns like leaves or cardboard at the bottom of the bin to provide a good base. This will help with aeration and will absorb any excess moisture. Then add your greens like vegetable scraps and grass clippings, followed by another layer of browns. Continue this layering process until your bin is full, always ending with a layer of browns on top to help keep odors down. With your compost bin now in place, you're ready to start composting. Remember, composting is not an exact science, but a natural process. So don't stress over getting it perfectly right. Have fun with it, learn as you go, and enjoy the satisfaction of turning waste into wonder. Now, what can you put in your compost bin? Composting may seem like a magical process where waste disappears and fertile soil appears. But the truth is, not all waste is created equal when it comes to composting. Let's start with greens, the nitrogen-rich materials that provide essential proteins for the microorganisms munching away in your compost pile. These include fruit and vegetable scraps, coffee grounds, and fresh grass clippings. Even the hair from your hairbrush can be composted. But be careful not to add too much of any one thing. A hefty load of citrus peels, for example, can make your compost pile too acidic and inhibit the composting process. Then we have browns, the carbon-rich materials that provide energy for your compost critters. These include dry leaves, twigs, paper, and straw. You can even compost the lint from your dryer as long as it's not synthetic. Again, balance is crucial. Too many browns can slow down the composting process, while too few can create a smelly, slimy mess. So what doesn't belong in your compost bin? You'll want to avoid meats, dairy products, and oily foods grounds, as these can attract pests and create unpleasant odors. Also off-limits are diseased plants, pet waste, and synthetic materials like plastic and metal. And what about those biodegradable products like corn-based plastics and compostable utensils? While these can technically be composted, they often require higher temperatures and longer times than most backyard compost piles can provide. Lastly, let's talk about ashes. While wood ashes can be composted, they can also make your compost pile too alkaline. And never compost coal or charcoal ashes, as they may contain harmful substances. In the end, composting is all about balance, variety, and understanding what can and can't be composted. Remember, a good balance of greens and browns is the key to successful composting. And when done right, composting can turn your waste into a garden's treasure, helping you grow healthier plants while reducing your environmental footprint. It's truly a win-win situation. You've got your bin and your materials, so what happens next? Welcome to the heart of the matter, the composting process itself. First, let's talk about layering. Your compost pile is a bit like a lasagna, with different layers serving different purposes. You'll start with a layer of browns. These are your dry materials like leaves, branches, or straw. They provide carbon and help with airflow. Then you'll add a layer of greens, your kitchen scraps and grass clippings, providing necessary nitrogen. Finally, a layer of garden soil is added to introduce those all-important microorganisms that aid in decomposition. As for proportions, aim for about 3 parts browns to 1 part greens. This ratio strikes a balance that helps the composting process run smoothly without unpleasant odors or attracting unwanted pests. Now you've built your compost pile, but the work isn't quite done. Regular maintenance is key to a healthy compost pile. This involves turning your compost pile every few weeks. Why, you ask? Well, turning helps to distribute air and moisture evenly, both crucial for decomposition. It's like giving your compost pile a breath of fresh air. Remember, composting is a natural process and nature takes its time. The decomposition process can take anywhere from 2 months to 2 years, depending on your climate and how often you turn your compost pile. Patience is a virtue, and in composting, it's particularly true. As time passes, you'll notice your compost pile shrinking in size and changing in appearance. It will start to look more like soil than a pile of waste. That's your signal that the composting process is nearing completion. You're now the proud owner of a batch of black gold, ready to enrich your garden and boost your plant growth. With time and a little patience, your compost pile will turn into rich, nutrient-filled soil. It's a process of transformation from waste to wealth, right in your backyard. And the best part? You're not just creating a great soil amendment for your garden, you're also reducing landfill waste and contributing to a healthier planet. So you've waited patiently and your compost is ready. But how do you use it? Well, the answer is simpler than you might think. Once your compost pile has turned into a rich, dark, crumbly material with a pleasant, earthy smell, it's ready to do its magic. This transformation from waste to wonder is a clear sign that you've struck black gold. But remember, patience is the key. This process can take anywhere between 2 months to a year, depending on the materials used and the conditions maintained. Now let's dive into the exciting part, using your compost. One of the most common ways to use compost is as a soil amendment. By mixing compost into your garden soil, you're not just improving its structure, but also infusing it with nutrients. Think of it as a vitamin boost for your plants. You can dig it into your garden beds before planting or spread it around existing plants. Another great use for compost is as a natural mulch. Spreading a layer of compost around your plants helps retain moisture, suppress weeds, and slowly releases nutrients into the soil. It's like giving your plants a slow drip nutrient infusion. Compost can also be used in potting mixes. Blend 1 part compost with 1 part sand and 2 parts soil to create a nutrient-rich mix that your potted plants will love. And for those who are into lawn care, compost can be a game changer. By spreading a thin layer of compost over your lawn in the spring or fall, you can naturally fertilize the grass and improve the health of your lawn. And there you have it. From kitchen scraps to nutrient-rich compost, you've created a cycle of sustainability right in your backyard. A cycle that reduces waste, enriches the soil, and contributes to a healthier planet. And just like that, your kitchen scraps have been transformed into a gardener's gold. So there you have it, a step-by-step guide to composting at home. From setting up your compost bin, understanding what can and cannot be composted, to finally using your compost, each step is a stride towards sustainability. Composting is more than just a way to reduce waste. It's a method to create nutrient-rich soil, often referred to as black gold, right in your backyard. This black gold not only revitalizes your garden, but also reduces our reliance on artificial fertilizers, thus contributing to a healthier planet. By composting, we're essentially turning waste into wealth. And in the process, we're also reducing the amount of waste that ends up in our landfills. It's a win-win situation for us, our garden, and our planet. Thank you for joining us on this journey from scraps to soil. Remember, every bit of compost helps our earth. So, start composting today and make a difference.